Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into episode 8 of the -4 podcast. I said that really weird. My name is Killian Ferry. I'm joined tonight by Aidan Ferry, Patrick Gribben, and Darren Dugan. Of course, Ryan Lafferty can't join us tonight due to... Yeah. So we're going to move straight into it. Who's taking it off? I don't know. Why is Ryan not here?
I don't know. He just said he couldn't make it, so...
No, right, okay.
He's trials for Sunderland.
Yeah,
Sunderland till I die. Anyways, well, first of all, we'll do what we usually do and take you through our teams. And I can actually see at the top of the list, it's actually yourself, Killian. So, you want to take us through your game week 9 team? How you got on?
Yeah. So, I was really happy this week. Well, not actually. I wasn't overly happy. My defense was a bit shocking. So I had Henderson in goals. In defense, I had Trent and Van Dijk. Obviously, not really doing anything this week. Coming out with 1 point between the two of them. Trippier and my newly subbed in Shar or whatever. Both good results from them. Jensen, Saka, and De Bruyne in the mid. De Bruyne obviously doing what he usually does. Mitrovic doing jack. Got injured as well. Jesus, and then Haaland. I mean, what else can you say about Haaland? And then on the bench I had Forster, who I'm convinced is gonna. He's fucking played and everything. I don't know. I had him on the bench all season, convinced he wasn't going to do it, and then he played. I've Gross, Jansen, who's out now for the foreseeable, and Palhinha, who's back now this week. But yeah, I was happy enough this week. Yeah, not too much to say. Liverpool just shat the load when it came to them against Brighton, and yeah, it wasn't. I was happy enough. I took a chance. I took Gross out to put Jensen in because, to be honest, I thought Liverpool would have easily won it. But even still, I'm kind of happy I put Jensen in. Came out at 1 point more, I suppose. But sad I didn't put Jansen in 6 points.
But for the man that always talks about Pontus Janssen, he didn't even play him. But
yeah, well, now I won't be able to play him for a good while. So.
I think there's talks like in terms of injury news, Pontus Jansson's done his hamstring from what I heard in the press conferences today, so not looking good, Briv. But
it's the second injury of the year, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think he was out for a week or two at the start, or maybe towards game week 5 and 6. But what I find
kind of been like he plays a week, he's off a week, he plays a week, he's off a week consistently, and that's him obviously.
Well, he is pushing on now, so
he's job sharing.
Yeah. From what I found interesting actually is that he scored 82 points.
Yes.
Obviously, both Liverpool defenders making a balls of things for you. Yeah. But what I found interesting is that Newcastle conceded with 2 minutes to go. But
I know.
Fabian Schär and Kieran Trippier both subbed off towards the end of the match and kept their clean sheets intact. So I think that's
because
it's so satisfying in that happens.
Jamminess of the season there.
I know. I wasn't watching the match, and I just asked Ray, and I was like, they conceded. Why did they still have clean sheet points? And I was like, oh, they came off the minute before they scored. And I was just yes.
Which makes it even more frustrating for those Nick Pope owners, doesn't it? He seems to be the only lad in that defense that got shafted. So
for someone who doesn't know what they're at, Killian, you seem to be doing quite well, suspiciously well.
You seem to.
Who's your sources?
Yeah.
Gumption.
Who's that?
You're unadulterated.
Is he on Twitter?
Gumption and guessing. Is he on Twitter?
FPL Gumption.
There you go.
But yeah, Jesus, your family must be lighting some out of holy candles because you've just been.
I'm telling you, Paddy every night.
Yeah, well, you're actually still quite close Darren with one
Yeah.
less game week played. So I'd say that 82 is.
Sorry, can I just point out that I'm actually catching up with Gribben there now.
That's okay. That means I'm catching up with both of you.
Funny enough, you said that, Darren, because I'm actually going to move on to you next. So like you and your 73 points here. Do you want to just take us through how you got on?
Yeah, so 73 points, and it wasn't looking great until Haaland and De Bruyne stepped up, to be honest. I got everyone else really was terrible. I got 2 points from Pope, and then Saliba with 1, Cancelo with 1, Trippier with 7. And then Zaha for 2, De Bruyne for 8, Martinelli for 4, Rashford for 1, Tony for 1, Haaland 46, and then Mitrovic with nothing at all. So yeah, captained Haaland, and he destroyed Man United. I was watching the game. It was a very, very hard watch for me. But I was saying that before we came on. It was one of those kind of things, good for fantasy, but not too good for the team I actually support. But yeah, look, De Bruyne and Haaland and Trippier really kind of got me out of a sticky situation. And I was happy enough with 73, considering all the other players I had didn't really step up, apart from Trippier. And Martinelli, I suppose. I mean, that was it. But yeah, I mean, there's leeway there to move some players about and to switch things about. Do I know what direction I'm going in? Not a clue, but happy enough. Yeah.
Yeah. What I find very interesting and what I find admirable is that Darren of last year would never have captained someone playing against his own team, Man United. So I feel like you're maturing a lot. I know you're.
Maybe,
It's the right call.
I know you're 25 years old now, but it's. I'm really proud of you, man. I think it's.
Thanks.
It's something.
To be fair,
it's something you wouldn't have done last year, so it's.
To be fair, at the back of my head, I knew I had Rashford in there, and I was like, he's definitely going to score 2 goals. He's definitely going to score 2 goals. And he didn't. And funny enough, Ryan had Anthony, and he came up with a great finish against City. And then look at it's just typical. It's so hard to call sometimes. Martial comes on and scores 2 goals for the first time in I don't know how long. He scored 2 goals back to back, or not back to back, but in the one game. So yeah, I'm bringing in Martial.
You sure you want to do
Bonus.
Better shout than what was it? Kai Havertz, was it last week? Was it?
Patrick's Kai Havertz shout last week, and I gave him so much abuse for it, but
I don't think that was warranted, and I still think he's not a bad pick, to be honest.
No,
Still standing by it.
Myself and Kai Havertz still fell out last year when they beat Norwich. They beat Norwich, was it 8-0 or 7 something or 8 something? And Kai Havertz was the only player in the Chelsea attack not to get a goal contribution. And that same week was the week that everyone captained Salah, and he scored a hat trick and an assist. And that's essentially when my fantasy died last year for a period of time.
Some guy in one of my leagues actually triple captained Haaland this week.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Unbelievable shout,
Yeah.
You never. Is it the highest score anyone's ever got in a game week?
25-7.
23.
It's probably up there, mate. You know that. I know Andre Arshavin probably with his 4 goals for Arsenal many years ago was probably near enough, but I don't know whether he was down as a midfielder at the time or not. But I suppose Kevin De Bruyne's 4 goals last year probably would have beat Haaland. I think De Bruyne ended up getting 30 points that game week against Wolves towards the end of the season. Anyway, so I digress. So we'll move on. I suppose I have my team here in front of me. Lads, James Maddison. He is the most He's the most beautiful man. And I know I said last year that it was captaincy wasn't going to be any other option bar Haaland, but I don't know whether it was divine intervention or a dream that I had, but I ended up moving Haaland captain James Maddison with about an hour to go on the deadline. Don't ask me what I was thinking, and it still ended up not being fully the correct choice, but Jesus, in terms of fantasy football, that was 1 week I haven't enjoyed. I haven't enjoyed watching a match or watching highlights of a match as much as I was, when you pick an alternative captain like that. But I'll take you through.
Still should have captained Haaland though.
Of course, and I probably won't. I probably won't make that mistake again. But I don't know what it was. I just thought the Manchester derby. I felt like United were making good progress defensively, and I just felt like it was going to be one of those games where it was going to be 1 each or 2-1 or 2-2 or so. I don't know what it was that just I had that in my head, and I just had a feeling that the Leicester game was going to be a cricket score, which it did.
Yeah.
So, look.
Well, it still worked out well,
Yeah,
absolutely.
And Bowen's in your team there as well. Bowen for 14 points.
Bowen is in my team.
Unbelievable shout.
It was a great shout. You know what? They were my two kind of out there picks on a wild card, and I know that after the weeks that they've had, I'm kind of going to be ahead of the curve, like 1 transfer ahead or 2 transfers ahead in that case, and that is what I said on the podcast here a few weeks ago. Is like they are sexy picks. They had absolutely no real form going into the week, but they're one of those lads when they had a hot streak, then they're going to be the first people anyone wants in. I'll go through the rest of the team here. Nick Pope for 2. Cancelo for 1. Kind of, I knew United were capable of scoring, so sad about it. Trippier obviously got taken off right before the goal went in. Reece James for 2, but a disappointing week for him. And then he goes and scores a goal and an assist against AC Milan in the Champions League and keeps a clean sheet. So points are coming, so hold firm on Reece James, I say. Nico Williams, the biggest trap in fantasy football in recent years. I don't think he's scored any points when he's been on the pitch for me.
Biggest trap. He's like the cheapest player in the game. You can't call him a trap.
No, he's a trap for me in the sense that because he's 4 million, everyone will just chuck him in, having no expectations, but he still does nothing. You have
expectations have been met. Then you could say.
Nah, I don't know. I'm still not very happy with him. But anyways, well, he'll probably be one of those players that'll still play in most fancy teams, even though he or a tap. So yeah, Nico Williams for -1, De Bruyne for 8, Martinelli for 4, Bowen for 14, James Maddison 18 points, double to 36 on captaincy, Haaland for 23, and Mitrovic very, very unlucky with a 0-pointer. From what I'm hearing in terms of press conferences and that, I think he's grand. I think he was just taken off as a precaution because the game was already lost. So I am not going to be subbing Mitrovic out, I don't think, just going off current injury. But yeah, 96 points, absolutely delighted with that. I don't really think there's a huge amount of change to be made. Emerson is a player that's still not starting for West Ham in the league, but he's starting tonight in the Europa League or the Conference League. So I'm still unsure as to what David Moyes is going to do with him. So he'll probably just sit tight another week, yeah. And I have 2 free transfers now, so may just be making a swap, maybe Nico Williams to another, maybe to someone else, but that would only be a bit.
Yeah. Your team's actually
a bit counterproductive. I have 2 free transfers, but I've no real need to make one. So I don't know. I would only be making a transfer for the sake of it. If it was to be anything, it could be a Nick Pope to maybe a Guaita or something like that.
That could be a shout. Because Palace have the best fixtures out of anyone from now till the end to the World Cup. Yeah. So
I've been
funny enough that you mentioned that, Aidan. I'm actually thinking of taking Nick Pope out as well. I don't really want to do much with the rest of the team, but I'm thinking of actually bringing Ederson in for a game.
I'm so jealous of you guys. Everyone in my team needs to go. Everyone needs to go.
But anyways, we'll move on to you then. So Patrick, with your team, 72 points. Take us through. Take us through it.
Yeah, I really hate my team. It's really gone. I was really happy with it when I made this on the wild card, but I really hate it now, and there's a few reasons for that. So 72 points, Nick Pope in goal, Perisic, Cancelo both for 1, and Trippier, and then Nico for -1. So not great defense now. Only Trippier scoring. De Bruyne, Martinelli, and Sinistera, who I just brought in at lastminute.com for him to get a nice red card. So that's perfect.
It's such a killer. I remember you just putting into the group chat like as soon as the red card came. I was like, he's definitely watching this game. You know, when you only have the one player in a fixture and you're just focusing on everything that they do and looking for ways to keep them, and then they go and do something as silly as the red card was as well. Like it must have been infuriating to watch. Like
I finally get honestly it was the worst. Like watching the match, he actually did look quite good. Like he looked dangerous, and I was really happy to have him. But then he just goes into the stupidest yellow cards you could possibly get. And now I'm kind of stuck. Like, do I bin him, or do I keep him on the bench for a week? Because I've got, you'll see from my team, I've got like 4 players flagged at the minute, and it means I'll have to start Nico Williams and Pereira, which is assuming Mitrovic is like going to be fit to play. So it's really bad situation to be in. I think the fact that I've got the 3 premium boys is kind of costing me in the end, because they all scored last week, and they're 3 of the highest scoring players in the game. But it's some of those boys like that are there making up the numbers are just like Sinistero, Williams, Bailey. I'm really not sure what to do, so I would appreciate any advice out there you just want to give me.
Did you think of going free hit or anything? No.
No, it'd be a complete waste of that free hit, because then I'm just gonna have the same problem next week.
You'll have like definitely in terms of free hits, you'll have those weeks down the line that there'll only be 4 or 5 game weeks, and they're the kind of times that you should be hitting. Or maybe if there's just a week in isolation with just a huge amount of double fixtures, that kind of thing. But yeah, like I know we did touch on this last week, and that is the caveat with having those really, really expensive players is that, especially in your forward line, you're going to have to it's going to be at least 2 transfers to take anyone else in. You know, that might say if you want to move from a Sinistera to a Bowen or a Madison or something, but like it's fantastic. It's a fantastic when it works out well, but it is a bit of a balls when it doesn't. So Sinistera,
I was looking at
it is a 1 week thing, Sinistera, and then Mitrovic.
Even if you took Kane out and brought in a lesser striker and then keep a -4, you'll take out Kane, taking a 6 or 7 million striker, and then keep the money for the next game week. It's probably going to take you a bit more game weeks to do it, or as Aidan said, take a -4 or -8. Like
the only problem I'm thinking with that is the fixture in game week 12, where there is no fixture for Arsenal and Man City. I think I'm gonna
exactly like you have bigger fish to fry, and those, like in that sense. What my advice would be, anyways, Mitrovic does look like he's going to be okay. Well, from what I'm hearing, we'll know more before the deadline, obviously. Sinistera is only a 1 week thing. Bailey is 50-50. You have Andreas Pereira there, and you do have a great, in terms of your starting 11, there are players that you could all play at the weekend. So I know it's 4 flagged, but in essence it's really 2 and maybe the odd 50-50. So it could work well, but after a poor week, the first thing,
it's real disappointing that Patterson is injured, because he could have definitely played like for a couple of these weeks and instead of Nico. But it is what it is. We'll figure it out.
What it is. Anyways, thank you, lads. We'll move on to the following segment, which is obviously your transfer plans and our little cheeky picks. I know my cheeky pick of Harvey Barnes last week actually ended up working okay. So if there's anyone that tuned into that and caught that, then please do let us know. But seeing as we finished up on Patrick there, and in terms of injuries and all that stuff is a hot topic, there's a blank in game week 12, so I might just start off on you, Patrick, and work our way back, I suppose. you obviously said you're kind of in two minds as to what you want to
Yeah.
do, but is there any early plans that you'd like to make or anything on the top of your mind?
If I suppose one, depending on Mitrovic's fitness, I was actually thinking of maybe doing a wee punt on what's he called again? Skamaka, who's about the same price as Mitrovic. I think he's starting for West Ham. Scored at the weekend.
Very cheeky.
Yeah, and I can't afford Bowen, and West Ham's fixtures are pretty good over the next run, so that might be a shout for people. And Granit Xhaka is actually like such a player. Like very cheap and actually scoring and contributing in matches. But the only problem is that fixture in game week 12.
Yeah.
So I can't, in good conscience, like recommend him. Really struggling to find any good cheeky picks this week, to be honest. I think that would be my only one. Maybe Skamaka for.
Yeah, that's a decent one. Like, he scored a lovely goal as well. He puts himself about, but
if you wanted another guy, who's that other guy? Paqueta for West Ham. Packet of crisps or whatever. It might be a good shout.
And you know he plays as well, so like it's very skillful players. Paqueta.
Yeah, might consider him for Sinistera.
Yeah, not a bad one actually. I see a lot of people brought him in on a wild card with not having the money for Bowen, so moving to Paqueta as well. Obviously hasn't paid off yet, like, but yeah. So like in terms of your team, I suppose, are you going to give it the day or two to ponder what you're going to do, or you have anything that you might want to act on?
The injuries are really concerning. The Bailey one, like I was planning on playing Bailey this weekend. I was planning on playing Sinistera this weekend, obviously, but I don't know what to do now. I will probably. You could downgrade Mitrovic to Solanke and then take a -4 to go Sinistera up to Zaha. Could do that. Probably wouldn't be a bad shout. Could go straight swap Mitrovic for Skamaka if Mitrovic is out, and then play Andreas. I really don't like the fact that I don't have Reece James, so I might consider downgrading Cancelo to Reece James and then using the extra funds to upgrade Bailey to could get Xhaka in just as a weak punt and then get him out in game week 12.
Yeah,
because he is so cheap. I'm not sure. I have to crunch the numbers and come up with a plan, which probably won't work.
But yeah.
Put the brick on the accelerator.
Exactly, literally. And it's exactly like in that episode where you're just driving in circles, and you will drive yourself in circles if you if you think about these things too much. Sometimes just the simple option of a straight swap for someone, or sometimes even just holding firm, ends up working. We shall see. Suppose working our way back, Killian, what's your plans for the week ahead? I know you were throwing some crazy names out there to us before we started recording.
Names I couldn't even pronounce. Jeez, I thought one lad was called Sensei. I was like, oh, it must be a saying. Yeah, so Jansen is out for the foreseeable future. So I've already made my transfer. I have Timothy Costagni.
Huge shout.
Castagna, yeah, great shout.
From Leicester. Yeah. Do with that what you will.
He's been quite on from what English doesn't exist right now. All right, but from what I saw on the stat metrics, Castagna is actually very, very high on all the metrics. He loves getting forward. Obviously plays in that left back position as a right footer, so he does kind of tend to be quite inverted, pick up the ball a lot in central areas and push on. Suppose him or James Justin, whatever your budget is.
He's actually been playing right back at the minute, Castagna,
Oh,
while Justin plays left back.
It's Justin on the other side. Okay, that's my bad then. So yeah, he's fantastic player. I love the way he operates. He always gets into dangerous positions, and it's exactly what Justin did actually before his horror injury. He obviously hasn't got back to those heights yet, but it's exactly what he did that season. He broke through. He just breaks those lines and picks the play up nicely. Leicester actually is, it might just be a 1 week thing, but I was very, very impressed with what I saw in their highlights the last time.
They have a lovely row of matches now for the next
Sure
5,
do.
I think it is.
Themselves,
So,
West Ham and Palace are probably up there with the best fixtures. I think Bournemouth actually have a decent run as well, so players from all those different types of teams are going to start coming into the equation now. Chelsea as well, probably another lovely run for them.
Danny Ward actually got his first clean sheet there at the weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of people have him. I think a few of you have him on your bench. I actually have I was hoping the other guy, Everson, would get started because Danny Ward's been crap. And then I would have loved to have had a starting Leicester defender probably to play for a few of these matches.
I'm glad he actually came good eventually. Whether it's gonna stay that way or whether it's not, I don't know. But I just think for the amount of abuse the lad's been getting the last while, it's good to see. It's good to see him actually not having to pick the ball out of the net the whole game. And in terms of Leicester, then if Leicester play well, they have some fantastic weapons in terms of point scoring. So I'd love to get back to the nostalgic days of being able to pick Castagna and James Justin in a defence and not have to go with your Cancelos and your Jameses and all that.
Oh yeah,
it's always nice to see some different
budget boys
come out. Yeah, big time.
To be honest, I took Van Dijk out this week as well because
they have a lot of money on that though.
They haven't been doing well. I haven't transferred him out. I've just taken him off to put Castagna on, but Mitrovic, I don't have Mitrovic on. I was gonna get rid of Mitrovic. I was gonna take a -4 this week and get rid of him too because he was doing class, and then I took him in, and he's done not a tap since I took him in.
You and me both, Killian.
It's shocking. So I was seriously considering taking in another forward.
A forwarder.
Forwarder.
Oh god.
Love it.
Instead of
that's like an extra line. Like there's the forwards and then the forwarders.
The ones who are just beyond the goals.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I don't think the Liverpool double back is going to do much this week now against Arsenal.
I tend to agree. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Newcastle. I'll keep the double Newcastle back, and they're playing Brentford, so this should be a good result for them. And then Palhinha's back this week, so I'm going to keep him in again.
Yeah, the main man's back in
the big man's back.
So,
return of the Mac.
That's it. I'll keep him. They're playing West Ham, so should be hopefully a good chance for him there.
P Daddy. I'll actually just take you through these fixtures quickly before we move on to Darren's team. We have Bournemouth at home to Leicester. This is Saturday. All 3 o'clocks, no early games on Saturday actually. We have Bournemouth and Leicester. I'm going to put on my glasses here because I'm squinting the whole. Bournemouth at home to Leicester. Chelsea at home to Wolves. City at home to Southampton. Newcastle at home to Brentford. And then in a late game on Saturday, you have Brighton at home to Spurs. Sunday afternoon, we have Palace at home to Leeds. West Ham at home to Fulham. Arsenal at home to Liverpool. And then in the evening kickoff on Sunday, we have Everton at home to United. And then the Monday night fixture being Nottingham Forest at home to Villa. Darren, in terms of your transfer plans, do those fixtures make any difference to your plans, or what's the crack?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I'm not really overly sure what to do this week, to be honest. The only thing I'm kind of looking at is Saliba there, with Arsenal playing Liverpool. Wee bit kind of unsure about that one. And
then they blank week 12 as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. And obviously I have Saliba, and I have 3 City players in, and I have Martinelli as well. cheeky picks this week. I'm thinking someone from Everton. Funny enough, I have no faith in United after watching that Europa League game tonight. They were
Masterclass.
just they were shocking. They were really, really bad. So I don't know, someone like a Dimitri Gray or Neil Maupay, I feel could actually do something this week. Am I going to go for them? I don't think so. I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe Almiron against Brentford. Newcastle very good at the weekend, 4-1. And apart from that, I don't think I'm going to change much. I did say earlier I might take Pope out and bring in a keeper who I think is going to give me a guaranteed clean sheet. I would be looking at someone maybe that plays for Chelsea, but Mendy and Kepa are kind of switcheroo at the moment, so not really looking at that. And yeah, look, the big keepers like Allison and all them haven't really performed this year. You know the way you're going to have your steady clean sheets from them, and I don't want to go near any City players. I already have enough anyway. So I think it might be just Perisic for Almiron, maybe. I have a little bit of money there, so I think that'll be all I'll be doing.
That'll be your two transfers. Who would you be swapping Perisic out for?
Sorry, not Perisic. I'd be swapping Andreas out for Almiron, sorry.
Andreas, okay.
But the problem I have then is I have Zaha, De Bruyne, Martinelli and Rashford already in my midfield. Who do I take out to put Almiron in? Maybe Martinelli. I can't see myself going near anyone else. I feel like Rashford will actually play well against Everton. He came on there tonight in the Europa League and scored 2 goals. So we'll see.
Yeah. I see the second you brought up Kepa and Mendy in the Chelsea defence, you could see a light bulb going off above Patrick's head there. He's gone into
furiously check the prices.
Yeah, I could just see, and we'll try and get a freeze frame on this for YouTube. But you could see the light bulb on top of his head, and his eyes go as wide.
Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah,
Here.
I feel like they will get a clean sheet against Southampton, isn't it? But who's gonna? I think Kepa started last week.
No, Mendy started in the West Ham game.
Oh, sorry. Well, who's gonna start this weekend?
Kepa started in the Champions League. So yeah, you're right. It's in and out. Kepa nails down that spot though. 4.4 mil.
Yeah, and it's the same actually.
I think I'm gonna.
Sorry, go on.
I think I'm going to stick with Pope though because, well, having said that, I completely contradicted myself because I have Tony up front and I have Pope and Nets. So
You're always going to have that though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like my transfer plans. Obviously, I'm still in two minds. I'm very, very happy with my team. My team was more geared up towards these next couple of weeks. I suppose I wasn't expecting obviously a 96 pointer last week. Especially after
Aidan, just to come in there for anyone that's listening, we're all very heavy on our City players and a few Arsenal and Liverpool players in there. How do we deal with that for anyone who's wondering? Most people have Haaland in, they probably have De Bruyne, Cancelo. How do we deal with taking M3 out before game week 12?
I think I'm sorry to jump ahead of you, Aidan, but
please do. It is a good discussion.
There's a simple answer to this, and it's get rid of Cancelo because he is not doing the same as what he done last year. Last season, he was getting an assist nearly every other game, and he got chipped in with a couple of goals.
You say that now. But Kyle Walker's out injured now. Cancelo's not going to play every game. They're playing Southampton, who they notoriously whip quite regularly, especially at home. I don't think Cancelo is going to go anywhere now. For me, I'm actually quite okay. I have Martinelli, I have Cancelo, De Bruyne, and Haaland. They are my Arsenal assets. So I think I move Martinelli on. Whether it be this week or whether it is or what the crack is, that's one option. Whether I move him on in week 11 or something like that. But the only issue is that the money you have tied up in Martinelli. So I bought Martinelli at 6 million at the start of the season. He's now worth 6.6. If I sell him, I'll only get 6.3. And then if I want to buy him back in 3 weeks' time, that 0.3 million is wiped out because I'm going to have to buy him back. So I really don't know. It could be De Bruyne. De Bruyne is probably... I don't think De Bruyne has got a price rise or a price fall in a while. He could get moved down to a Son or something like that for a couple of weeks, see how they go. But
I think
my plan anyways is just to have the 3 spots on the bench filled with Martinelli and 2 City players. I'd imagine that's probably going to be me.
I'd nearly be looking at a free hit with a few Sons and a few random players, because I know that's just what I'm going for anyway, because my game week past there, if I didn't have any City players in it, I would have had 10 points.
Very true.
I just can't. I just think I'm going to sit on a free hit now for.
Yeah,
you want to have that later on in the season.
Yeah, last year with cancellations and everything, I had to play a free hit because I only had 5 players playing. So I think, if you load up the bench with players that aren't playing, and then the worst thing comes to the worst and you have to take a -4, either that or I would just take the -4, because a free hit is really only if your team is completely decimated, or you're chasing and you're attacking 3 or 4 double game weeks, or if not more.
Killian,
what's your plans for it, Killian?
Yeah.
Buckle yourselves in, because Killian doesn't know himself what he's doing for week 12. I bet you.
I still don't know it. My intention was to use the free hit thing, but I didn't think about down the line how there will be matches with double game weeks. There'll be other weeks where teams aren't playing so far. But can I just double check what teams aren't playing on game week 12? City and who else? Do we know?
City and Arsenal.
Yeah,
Isn't
Arsenal.
it?
And Arsenal.
Yeah.
So that's 4 players. That's a lot for me. I still think I am going to free hit. Saying that.
Sure, why not?
I'm not gonna. I mean, another option would be to use. I didn't use my wildcard to use the wildcard, but then I find I'd be spending too much time kind of tracking back to what I was then. Because that's 4 weeks then building the team up again, and you lose a lot of money from doing the wildcard as well.
You only get 1 wildcard between now and you have 1 wildcard to use between now and week 17, and it's coming up on week 10 and 11 now. What
do you mean between week 1 and 17? Did
you
get another one after?
So yeah, you get 2 wildcards a season. One between week 1 between week 1 and 19, and then the other one's between week 20 and week 38.
Right.
But now with the World Cup, you essentially get 3. You get 1 between now and the World Cup. This is whenever the World Cup is on for that month and a half, you'll have as many free transfers as you want for the whole month and a half, and then you get your second wildcard of the season. You have a wildcard between week 20 and week 38 that I would advise you, if you haven't yet.
Then week 12 I will be using my wildcard.
Use it pretty soon.
Good idea.
Yeah. The only caveat then to that. Yeah, no worries. But the only caveat to that then is, as long as you don't wildcard out maybe any City, or wildcard out all the City players.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe keep your Haaland on the bench, or that kind of crack. But yeah, it's interesting. So in terms of my transfer plans, it's kind of I'm looking at my team here, and I don't really see anything. I don't really see anything pressing.
Screw you, man.
I know. I know.
I was just waiting for that. I could see Gribben slowly eating up inside.
I can see him. I can see him out of the corner of my eye, and I can see the smoke coming out of his earphones here.
Do you know the meme of like DJ Khaled and it's his album "Suffering from Success"?
Yeah.
That's you right now. Just like
Lads, to be fair, I jumped from 1.3 million in the world on fantasy football to 400 and something thousand. So I will take this and I'll sit on it. But look, team's probably going to line out something like this for the weekend. Pope currently in goals at home to Brentford, but there is Danny Ward away to Bournemouth as well. Playing Danny Ward could eliminate the pain of a double Newcastle defence conceding. So I'll see. Like Bournemouth could end up sneaking one just as much as Brentford can end up sneaking one against Newcastle. So for me, it'd probably just be a coin flip between them. I'll see. Cancelo at home against Southampton. That's I don't want to make myself really quotable too early, but I think that's the handiest clean sheet they'll have in a while. Trippier stays in the team at home to Brentford. Reece James against Wolves. He doesn't get a clean sheet against Wolves. There's something so far wrong. And I'd love to see him get in and amongst the assists and all that. Like Nico Williams at home to Aston Villa. I'm really just going off how bad Villa played at the weekend. I thought they were pretty poor. So I backed Nico Williams there. De Bruyne, Martinelli, Bowen, Maddison kind of all picked themselves off form flying. Haaland at home to Southampton, captain. And going off the injury news, I'm pretty sure Mitrovic is going to be okay, so he stays in my team away to West Ham. Any changes that I would make would purely be down to Mitrovic injury news. I would imagine if Mitrovic is injured for another week, I might make a decision on him then. You know, you mentioned Scamacca, Dominic Solanke, those kind of boys who are in the good fixtures. I'd love to go for a player like Odsonne Edouard, but he just doesn't play enough for me to warrant starting him. I love the Wilfred Zaha pick. He was my cheeky pick for this week onwards, I suppose. This week onwards, they have a lovely streak. My plan was if Bowen played poorly against Wolves, that he would come straight out for Zaha, and I kind of already had that transfer booked in, but no need for it now. I'm kind of happy enough, but I'd say it'll probably hinge on Mitrovic injury news. If not, I could go Pope to possibly to Guaita, just to at least have one Crystal Palace player in there. They're pretty solid defensively. Chelsea found it very, very hard to break through them, and it took a screamer from Conor Gallagher in the last kick of the game to get the win there. So pretty happy. It's not often I say this, so I'm kind of happy to ride on it for another week. But my cheeky pick actually last week was Harvey Barnes, and
you done well.
He's fantastic actually.
Yeah, Darren, he did fantastic actually.
Killian, I'm sensing a lot of anger here.
He did well. No, he did fantastic.
No,
Was
from success? And my cheeky pick actually
still got it about Pontus Jansson, man.
No,
that's what
he goes crying inside.
He goes on about Pontus Jansson and then benches him, so you can't please everyone, can you?
Listen, I need to give the man a rest.
Yeah, needs to give himself a rest. Anyways, my cheeky pick for this week was going to be Wesley Fofana, and he scored last night, and now he's got himself a foot injury, so he'll be out for another 3 or 4 weeks. And obviously my other cheeky pick would be someone that I'd want to bring in myself, and that would be Vincente Guaita for Crystal Palace. I am happy with Pope, but if the worst had to come to the worst and I had to burn a transfer somewhere, it'd probably be Guaita. So that is
and just on
that is my cheeky pick for the week.
You mentioned Haaland captain. Ryan had a crazy captain shout last week. Unfortunately, didn't pay off for him. Are we all on the captain on the Haaland bandwagon for captain this game week? I am anyway.
Or my
Oh
captain,
yeah.
man.
Oh god, yeah.
Big time. As long as
Erling
Erling Haaland has 2 legs, and I won't be making the mistake of dropping him from captain.
What did Gribben put in the or Patrick put in the group chat today? They were like testing him whether he was a robot or something. Was it Patrick? Was that you?
Yeah.
It wasn't me, but I think it was like there's a like a petition with like
Yeah.
400,000 people signed to kick him out of the league because he's clearly a
Because
robot.
he's a robot, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm considering the L triple, do you know?
Oh.
And just like that?
And just like that, he leaves the call.
Oh my god,
Oh,
that was amazing.
that's brilliant.
We're definitely keeping that in.
Love that from
So
you, Killian.
Discord didn't want that choice.
Yeah. Someone's trying to silence you, Killian.
Yeah, never mind.
That was amazing.
You're being censored.
But yeah, no, I was seriously considering it. Cut again.
You know what, Killian? And as much as it could,
I'm not listening to anything Aidan says about triple captains because last year, for those of you who don't know, I took in
That's
Firmino, and I was like, "Oh, lad, double game week. Firmino's in. He's gonna cause a ruckus. Do that." Didn't play. What was it?
I can't do anything if someone gets injured in the warm up. You do realize that.
Well, I think it worked out alright. It actually worked out alright for you, Killian, because you had Son vice captain and he got a haul, I think. So
But
we just do like to tease you.
Well, what I don't like is that if you triple captain someone and they don't play, for the vice captain, they don't get the triple.
No, they do.
They do.
He's going to be kicked out of Discord again for saying that.
Yeah, Killian, come on, man.
Kicked out for.
Right, there you go.
You're making us look.
I knew that,
You're making us look
but
weak
they are
here.
questions that we're getting asked in.
Please edit all of this out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna edit that part out.
Headers.
Yeah.
Shall we do the trivia round, lads?
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
I just want to finish on one thing beforehand, lads. How scary! I know Killian's not going to like the old triple captain talk, but lads, imagine how good Erling Haaland's going to be on a double game week with a triple captain. That's going to be like.
I'd be expecting at least 6 goals, like.
Yeah,
That's why
per game.
The call.
Rumor has it Killian's waiting until Fulham has a double game week so he can triple captain Polinia.
Listen,
Go.
you give me £100, I'll do it.
Save the triple captain for the last day of the season, Killian, and then just put it on some absolute meme lord.
Yeah, I'll put it on Sensei or whatever his name was.
Yeah. Anyways, lads, thank you very much. That's segment number 2 wrapped up. Finally, we move on to everyone's favorite part of the show, Paddy's trivia round. Trivia.
This is a little bit different trivia. Well, and it's another list, so I guess it's not that different.
Oh, I love that list.
And
we're missing Ryan as well, by the way. So
we're without our stats expert here.
I don't think you'll need stats for this one, but you need some. I think Killian might be semi decent at this one. Okay.
Oh, glad.
So I've got a list here of official kit manufacturers for the 2022-2023 Premier League season.
Okay, I don't mind that actually.
Interesting.
I've got 7 names here on the list. So these are companies that make the kits for all 20 Premier League teams, and there's 7 different ones. So these are going to take turns to try and name all 7, and you have 3 minutes to do it.
No bother. In terms of how we're lined up on the screen here, I suppose we have Darren, and then Killian, and then myself. So I suppose we'll probably just go in that order. So Pat, whenever you want to start, we'll let Darren take it away.
We're going to start in 3, 2, 1, go.
O'Neill's.
Incorrect.
Adidas.
Get in the bin.
Azuri.
Adidas is right. Yeah.
Okay, Killian.
Nike is correct. Yep.
Umbro.
Umbro is right. Yeah. Brentford and West Ham.
New Balance.
Incorrect. No New Balance.
Reebok.
No Reebok. Incorrect.
Castor have Newcastle.
Castor is correct. Newcastle, Villa, and Wolves
Darn.
all have Castor.
Hummel, maybe, no?
Hummel is right, yeah. That's your fourth one.
Killian.
Jacko.
Think of obscure clothes brands you might find in Sports Direct.
The Cock Sportif. I don't know.
Good shout. Incorrect.
I'll go with Kappa.
Kappa, incorrect.
Moving through them.
Lotto, no. Probably not.
Lotto, incorrect.
Puma.
Puma is right, yeah.
Nice.
Man City are Puma. One more left to get.
Area.
Area, not right.
Reebok.
Already been said
Already
and
been
incorrect.
Lazenger.
Slazenger, incorrect.
I'm trying to go through the teams here.
Yeah, some way.
So it's the-
I'm trying to go through the brands. Never mind the teams.
Who do Spurs have?
Killian owns all these brands.
Spurs have Nike, I'm pretty sure. It'll be one
Actually,
of the...
Wolves have a weird one. I
They
think
have Castor. That's been said.
Yeah. Said that. Give us a clue, Griffin. Do we have much time left?
You have about 45 seconds left, and you have the kit is for Crystal Palace and Forest have this manufacturer.
Oh, Macron.
Macron is correct. There you
Yeah.
go. Ding ding.
Go, ding
Woo,
ding.
we finished one.
Fair play.
By
Well done, Ella.
feckin' time, we got one.
Just about inside the time limit as well. So well done.
Decent.
stuff.
Give yourselves a round of applause there, lads. Good stuff. Boom.
Pause. Don't want to clip the mics.
Yeah. So, obviously, as you may have seen last week, in addition to us being on Amazon podcasts and Spotify podcasts under the -4 FPL podcast, we're also now on YouTube, guys. So a lot easier for you guys to consume your content and a lot easier to interact with us as well. We have a Twitter as well, which we will chuck into the link below. It's -4 pod, the same as the YouTube. So it's on all relevant platforms, and you can directly contact us there. Get your suggestions in, get your questions into us, and we'll make sure we read them out on the podcast. But unless you have anything else, lads, I think that's a good way to sign off.
Hi,
Nothing
friends.
else from us. Yeah. Thanks for
Definitely.
coming on, guys. And yeah, not looking forward. I can't wait for the World Cup because then I get another wild card. That's all I'll
There we
say.
go. Can't wait for the World Cup. Goodbye.
You're already one fantasy to end. This is not a good start. One bad game week, Patrick. One bad game week will not define your season. The decisions you make from it will. But anyways, best of luck, lads. I hope you do brilliantly. Obviously, Ryan couldn't be with us this week, but I hope he does well as well. And
We make it
we'll,
sound
I
like
hope he
he's
doesn't.
sick or something.
Yeah,
I make it
hope
sound
he
like he's
doesn't.
dead,
So
but
we'll take
do you know what
I
we
hope
will
you all
do?
do.
Go on, no, say
Sorry,
it.
I got
No, say it. No, say it.
got a bit confident there, and I don't want to finish it.
No, no,
Oh yeah.
I'm leaving.
Manchester United beat Cypriot flicking minnows, and now he's getting all confident. Anyways, lads, thanks very much for joining me. We'll sign off. Have a lovely week, everyone, and hope your fantasy teams do as well as ours will. All right, see you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Woo.